All right, I'm working on this 2004 Honda Element. It's actually my personal vehicle. And I've had this problem before with this car. Actually, my mom had it. This is my mom's car before I got it. And about 7 or 8 years, maybe, I don't know, 7, 6, 7 years ago, she couldn't get her key in the ignition while she was at work. So she called a locksmith out and he came out and fixed it for her. It cost her quite a bit of money. And now it's doing the same thing. You can put the key, my key will go in and turn, but a lot of times my key doesn't want to come out. Like right there, it gets kind of stuck coming out. Sometimes it's worse than others. Uh, yeah, like right now I can't. It's actually acting better now than usually. And then my wife's key won't go in. So this key, I guess, is more worn because I'm the main driver of the vehicle. So this key goes in, but it has a hard time coming out. And then my wife's key doesn't really want to go in. One time she was stuck yesterday in a parking lot for about 5 minutes trying to get the key to go in, to get it to start. So, and like I said, usually mine will, yeah, like right here, you gotta like kind of jiggle it and it'll kind of come out. So sometimes mine will get stuck pretty good in there. And so anyway, I'm not gonna put a new tumbler on it. You could get a new ignition tumbler or the switch, or you could have the locksmith come out and fix it. I'm not gonna do either of those. What it is, there's pins in there. I think there's 5 or 6 pins in there. And what happens is one of them will get stuck, or maybe two. Usually it's one. And what I'm going to do is just remove the pin out of the lock and then not worry about it. So it's going to be maybe slightly easier to steal, but it really isn't going to be because these keys have chips in them anyway. So even if you turn the lock, I don't think it would start without the chip in it. So, and if you just have one less pin in it, it's not really going to make a big difference anyway. So I'm just, instead of going and buying a new tumbler and getting new keys and all that, I'm just going to go ahead and take this apart, take the pin out that's sticking, and then put it back together. So I'll show you how to do that. If you want to go ahead and replace your whole tumbler, you can do that, or whatever you want to do. But and I'm not really sure what causes them to stick. If there's this, I can't remember what's involved with it. I just know that I have dealt with this in the past, not on this car, but on a couple other Hondas, and it's fine just taking the pin out on the one that's bad if that's what you want to do. So uh, the locksmith, I think he replaced the pin or something. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. So I just know it was like $500 or $600 for him to come out and get her car started for that time. So it was very expensive, and I wish I would have known. Back then, I don't think I knew about the pins or anything like that, and we were trying to find a tumbler, and we could not find one local in a decent amount of time. She needed her car, so we ended up just having him fix it. And then later on, I did some research on it and found you can just take the pins out. So anyway, enough of that. We're going to take this cover off. I think there's 3 or 4 screws to hold some stuff in here, and then this thing should slide out. So I'll show you how to do all that real quick. First thing we're going to do is take this cover off and get down to it. All right, so I'm just underneath the steering wheel here. I'm just going to go ahead and take out these, I think there's 3 screws to hold this cover on, the plastic cover. And that should come out, or come off. I already took one out. What's convenient about is I think all the screws that hold everything in on this are actually Phillips, so you don't need any special torques or anything like that to get it off. So now it's just kind of snapped together. I'm going to go ahead and do it off camera, just unsnap it, and then this should come down. And you should be able to see what you need to see. All right, once you get those 2 covers off, which are down there on the floor, they just snap together. We're going to take these 2 connectors off here, and then I think there's like 4 or 5 screws we got to take off. I can't remember. It's been a while since I took one of these apart. We got the 2 screws here, then this should slip off, and then we got I think one here, and then there's one kind of over here somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and take that apart, and then I'll show you where the screws are located after I get them off, so you know where to look. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to take this piece off first, which should be, I think, just 2 Phillips. Let's see if I can get it off on camera here. I don't know. That's 1. I think that's it on this particular. So I think this just slides out now, if I remember. Yeah, so that piece just slides out with those 2 screws, and then I'm trying to lose my screws here, and then we're going to take I believe there's a screw back here somewhere or something for this piece, so I got to get this off, and then I'll show you what I'm doing after I get it apart. All right, you got 1 screw on the top. This goes on here, and you got 1 screw right on the top, which should be facing up towards your gauges. You take that out, and then you can kind of pull this away. And now normally, I believe that you have to take this pin out that goes in this hole right here where my finger's at. But because mine was messed with, it doesn't look like, yeah, it looks like it's actually broke off in there. My guess is the locksmith did that. So this is moving around like it really shouldn't. And I guess with this bolted up on there, it kind of holds it where it's supposed to be. But yours will probably have a pin in here, and what you have to do, from what I understand, remember, is kind of pull this. This is so jacked up. Mine's a little bit jacked up. So I think you have to press against the top of this thing, and I think mine's gone. And then this pin will come out. But unfortunately, mine's gone, it looks like. So anyway, this probably will just pull out now. So I'm just going to kind of pull it out carefully, and you can see there's something broke off in there, so he must have broke that off and didn't get it out properly. So the way to get it out, from what I remember, if I remember correctly, there's something here that's gone that you push in and then it slides out. So I'm not going to have that. So I'm just going to pull this out. I'm going to take it over the bench and see if I can figure out which pin is sticking. All right, so you got to bear with me a little bit. Like I said, I don't do this every day, so I'm kind of learning as we go here a little bit. I do have a little bit of experience with this, but you got to pull this top retainer off here. This is what locks your steering wheel. And there's a little spring that's underneath that plastic clip. And then you pull this arm out. And I think this pin, yeah, this pin can fall out, little pivot pin. So just kind of leave that there. If it falls out, it's not a big deal. But you have to be mindful of that. And now we have to get, okay, yeah, there's a retaining pin that holds this circular thing on here. It's a little roll pin. And I'm gonna get something real small, and we're gonna push that out. It's sticking out a little bit right here. So we have to take this. This is what holds the cylinder inside this tumbler here. So we have to take this off, and there's a little roll pin in here. So I'm gonna go get something really small, to maybe an Allen wrench or something, and put it through here, and we should be able to knock that free. And then this should come off, and then we should be able to take this out and see which pin's sticking. So I'm gonna go find a real small Allen key real quick and get this going. All right, this roll pin is sticking out a little bit right here. But for me to get my Allen wrench down, there's no access hole right in here to get to it. So what I found is you're gonna have to drill a hole into this so that you can actually put your whatever you're going to use to push the roll pin out. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and get as close as I can. It looks like I'm going to have to drill about right here. So there's a big circle here. I'm going to have to drill, you know, a little bit off to the left of that. So what I'm going to do is, it should be pretty easy to drill. So what I'm going to do is just drill a hole, and if I'm not perfectly lined up, I may have to make it slightly bigger, but I'm not too worried about it. We should be pretty close. Be nice if they would have put a hole there. So it looks like it's about right here. Oh. Alright. Being stupid. Alright, I'm all the way through. It looks like I'm dead on. Yeah, I'm pretty close. I'm right on that roll pin now. So I'm going to find something just to kind of elevate this a little bit, and then we're going to tap that out. You can see I just drilled a hole. Kind of just drilled a hole right through where the roll pin was at. So you see this big hole here, or this big circle here. It's just off to the left of that a little bit. And that allows you to get something down in there, like an Allen key or something like that. And we're going to get down on that roll pin and start knocking it out. Get it out far enough we can take this collar off. Alright, so all I'm doing, I got it almost out. All I'm doing is just putting my little Allen key in there. Hitting on it. And alright, it's almost out now. Let me see. Just gonna kind of elevate so I'm not hitting the table. There. So it just fell out. So that's what holds this. I gotta get my Allen key out. So that's what holds that little collar on there. And I got my keys in the whole time. I don't know, you don't really have to do that, but I just did. I'm gonna leave them in until get it out. And this thing's being ignorant. I don't want to break this off in the hole. Trying to do it a little bit gingerly. Alright, so we'll just slide this out, hopefully. I'm going to set that off to the side, and then this whole thing should slide out. And it looks like my key's all the way in. And all of these should be down. But this one is sticking up. And that should not be sticking up. So that's probably the one that's sticking. Let me take my key out. I don't want, if you take your key out, they'll all fall out. So I'm going, if you have it up, you know, straight up. So I'm going to. I had one fall out on me already. It looks like I'm missing some. Let me get this one back in real quick, and then we'll look at it closer. All right, so you kind of want to hold your key off to the side if you're going to take your key out, because it holds all these pins on the bottom end. I think what this locksmith did, he didn't actually fix this. All he did was take the pins out. And it looks like I'm missing, I believe there's looks like 5 that's supposed to be in here, and I only have 1 in here, and or I got 2 in. So there's one, this one's the one that's stuck up. This is the one that's probably giving us the trouble. So if I take this one out, I'm only going to have 1 pin in here that's still in here out of the 5. So that guy kind of charged a lot of money just to take a bunch of pins out and not replace them. So I guess what I'm going to do, just to be able to drive the car, is take this one out, and then maybe I'll have to get a new tumbler and put the new pins in, or take the, you know, maybe replace this tumbler. I still don't think you could steal the car without the right key, just because if there's no computer chip in the key, it's not going to start. But I don't like the fact that all my pins are missing. So he took all the pins out and then replaced them. And it looks like he left 2 in, and this is the one that's sticking out. So this is the one that's not working right. So I guess I'm going to pull that out, and we can always test my theory and take that out and put this back together and see if the key will turn with anything, and then see if it starts. But I don't believe it will. But you should have more pins in this. So your car probably if you've never had this problem before, you'll have more pins in here, and you just look for the one that's sticking up. And see, you can push it down, so it's just sticky is all it really is. I could maybe just lube it up and then put it back in, but I just don't want to have this problem, because you don't want to get stuck somewhere. We're actually going out of town, and then it's like you get stuck somewhere, and then you can't get the car started. and you don't feel like wouldn't really want to take it apart on the side of the road. You could do that, but you know, when you're off, you don't want to work on stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that pin and then put it back together. But in this case, where I've already had pins removed and not replaced, the best thing to do would be to replace this whole tumbler, this whole entire lock here, and get new keys. So I'll probably do that, but for now, just to get the car where we can drive it without having to worry about getting stranded, I'm gonna go ahead and take this pin out and then put it back together. All right, so I went ahead and removed that pin that was slipping up. It's right here. And looks like I only got one left, and then I got the big one at the end. So that kind of sucks. There should be, it looks like, maybe 5 or 6 are supposed to be in there, and now I'm down to 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it back together, and we will see what happens. I kind of looked around on the internet a little bit, and it looks like to get a whole new ignition lock, cylinder, everything, it's like $370, maybe a little more. There's some stuff on Amazon. Looks like you can just buy just the tumbler itself, but then the reason why I don't like that is because then I'll have two keys, one for the door, which would be this key, and then a new key for the tumbler. So I don't like that idea. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But regardless of what I do, I'm going to take this pin out, and then it's going to be you know, there's still one in there, so you're not going to be able to just reach in there and turn the key or just turn the lock by hand. And like I said before, you do have the computer chip, so it's not going to be able to be stolen, but I would like to do something with it. It's a little bit better just having one in there. So I don't know what I'm going to do a little research on it. If somebody else has had issues with this and don't want 2 keys, let me know what they did. I know there's also a push button thing you can get for the cars that's actually cheaper than replacing this. It's like I think it was like $180, and you keep your factory keys and stuff, and you just have a push button. So that would be another option possibly, and then just eliminate this. So I don't know, but if you have any thoughts on it or have had experience with just replacing just these somehow, I don't know why they stick to begin with, let me know, and go from there. So as of right now, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put everything back together and see what it does. So all I did here was just kind of line everything back up and put that roll pin back in. I'm just going to tap that back in until it's flush, and we'll put these pieces back together. Don't forget you have that little roll pin for this. It does come out, so you might have to put it back in like it just came out on mine, and kind of set that in there like that. And you got that spring. It goes in that hole, that little round hole. And then that retainer plate for the spring goes over and just snaps into place. So you should have it like that. So obviously, you know, with mine being that pin that's broke off in here, there's not much else to put it back together. I'm just going to slide it back in and start putting the steering column back together. Then I'll see if it works. It should work with this pin out, and we'll go from there. So I don't know. I was thinking about getting that push button anyway, because my key fobs are gone, all broke on this car, and the new push button start comes with the key fob and all that. So I might go ahead and go that route with it, just eliminate this altogether. I'm not sure, but and then I kind of worry about that because I don't know how good the company is at selling that as far as reliability. If something goes wrong with that, then you're stuck again. So, and the car is very, very reliable. I've never had any trouble with it, hardly ever. So I don't want to start creating problems I don't need to. So at this point, the other option would be the actual new cylinders I saw online were anywhere from $30 to $50, and they come with 2 keys. I could do that and just have 2 keys, one for the door, one for the ignition. I'm not real keen on that, but that may be the cheapest option at this point too. So I don't know. We'll see what we do with it, but we're going to go ahead and go back over to the car and slide this back in and make sure it works. All right, so I just went ahead and replaced the screws I took off, put the thing back together. It's very easy. You just do just reverse whatever you did, take it off. Got these two screws, the one on the top, and then I did take out a screw down here. I don't think I had to take that out. I took it out just because I saw it. And anyway, we're just going to try it now. I got everything plugged back in. Get the key, make sure it comes out, goes in. Who knows, maybe I made it worse. I do know there's only one pin holding it in, so that's on. Of course, the wipers are on. And then it comes right out. Comes out real easy. Let me see if I can put a different key in it and get it to turn. Alright, so I got this other GM key in there. And with that one pin still in there, it's not turning. So that's good. At least it's not super easy to steal. But like I said before, I don't think you could steal it anyway, because even if you didn't have, if you just put a GM key in here, your computer chip won't pick up. So more than likely, I'm just going to leave it like this and not fix it until that pin goes out, and then maybe do some. I'm not sure. I don't like that all those pins are going out of it, but at the same time, this car is not really ever put in an area where it's going to get stolen, and or I mean, I guess it could happen, but if you're going to steal it, you're going to break one pin or 5 pins, whatever. You still need a computer chip or whatever. You're going to have to know how to override it, so it's not really going to make much difference. But I would still feel better if I had all the pins in there, or at least most of them. Not only having one in there or two kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So right now I'm just going to get it where we can drive it and not have to worry about the key getting stuck in or not getting it in one way or the other. Like I said, mine was getting stuck in. Hers wasn't going in, so it was... both of us were having issues with it, and mine's sliding right out now, so at least we got it where we can drive it now. If I come up and do anything else with it, or maybe get that button, I'll show that and how to install that and do all that. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it like this and see what happens, and do a little more research. So all you got to do left after you do all that is just put your covers back on, and you're good to go. And I think that this is a pretty common problem on these cars. From what I remember when I had my mom, I did a bunch of research on it, and it was happening quite a bit to people. So this is definitely a common problem on these, having the problem with the key getting stuck in or not going in, or vice versa. So I don't know what the deal is with it, like it's a bad design or just, you know, lack of lubrication, whatever, because it was happening even when the cars were kind of newer. So this car, when it first happened, was probably 7-8 years ago, so it's been a while. So anyway, that's where we're at with this. Just kind of showing you if you need to take out a pin or something, that's how to do it. So as always, thanks for watching, and God bless.